touchdown. A couple of big plays staying on his feet when he should have been on the ground, and he gets up limping here, so we'll probably see Driscoll. And we know he's tough because that hit Tony Washington put on him in the first half. Most quarterbacks would be in the concussion protocol after that one, and he got right back up and kept playing.
NFL Total Access, the only live news for the NFL and preseason coverage you won't find anywhere else. NFL Total Access, tomorrow at 7, live on NFL Network.
No one covers game day like game day.
Football is most certainly back.
We started up first.
This is where all the fun begins.
Get you ready for kickoff.
He can play inside, outside. The best receiver in football is going to be made for Pittsburgh.
Deliver the latest highlights and interviews.
Season that we've had is
For Pittsburgh.
Deliver the latest highlights and interviews.
season that we've had is a special.
We're there to wrap up your day.
That's how you win football games.
We've got you covered.
All day long.
NFL Game Day returns September 11th, only on NFL Network.
All right, so it's preseason, so we got to break out the trivia on you a little bit. Our Bud Light trivia question, what is Chip Kelly's real first name?
He's going to let you know right now. He's addressing that question.
Actually, he's at KDIX Football asked him
See
right
that?
now.
That's right.
He's laughing because he's listening to our broadcast in that headset. All right, he's not, but it sounds good. So Chip Kelly's real first name, I actually gave it to you at the end of the first half when he was being interviewed by Dennis O'Donnell. So there was a very famous prince in England who shares the same first name.
Well, speaking of Prince, I think he's the fastest guy on the team. You were asking about Tregs earlier.
Prince with the same first name as Chip Kelly. How about that?
Good.
So first down. Savage under pressure, able to get rid of it nicely. All the way inside the 30-yard line. And so finding Kenny Hilliard. And that's where Tom Savage, you're right, his injury. They had Hoyer last year. They went 9-7. They lost 30-0 in the first round of the playoffs. They paid $19 million for Brock Osweiler. But Tom Savage looks like an NFL player.
Oh, his release is the best on the team for sure. I mean,
NFL player.
oh, his release is the best on the team for sure. I mean, he throws like Vinny Testaverde. Vinny Testaverde had an unbelievable throwing motion, the way he can spin that football. Savage, man, I mean, he's that good, but without question, he spins it better than anybody they've got on the Houston Texans. Really good rushing pressure by Ronald Blair on that last play.
Third-year player out of it. And hit as he throws again. It's going to jump ball. One by Houston. It's coming back by Jalen Shaw. And that's one where Keith Reeser is going to feel good about the coverage, but lost in the one-on-one jump ball.
And this is a killer, because
One-on-one jump ball.
And this is a killer, because watch the pressure come from this side. And Ballure again, unblocked. And Savage takes it one-on-one with those big receivers. Jalen Strong out on the edge, who is awfully big and has a size advantage over Reeser. He's got to unload it. And Reeser slips and goes down, and Jalen Strong able to get inside her right at the 10-yard line.
First and goal to go. Give it to Hilliard over the right side for a couple. Now, for Bill O'Brien, coaches can say this game doesn't matter. Jalen Strong's a starting wide receiver.
No, they got to go.
And he's still in the game.
Yeah, those receivers have got to go. And I was talking to the coaches before the game, and they're counting on those guys. Andre Johnson is gone. Hasn't been gone for a while. They got to step up. And the guy stepping up right now is Ray Armstrong. I've seen him make a couple of nice plays in this game. He's been flashing all over the place in camp. He's got that hybrid ability as a super fast linebacker and a terrific coverage guy. There he is right there, and he is right in the middle of that battle to occupy that spot next to Lamar Bolton during the regular season.
Empty backfield on second and goal. Savage with a quick read, another jump ball this time. Reeser again, good coverage, and the ball overthrown. That'll bring up third down. And this is, Tim, exactly what you talked about. Hey, we didn't have goal-to-go situations. We didn't have red zone situations. Like, this is exactly what coaches on both sides of the football would want.
No, they love it. Both coaches. What is pro football? It's about 4 or 5 really big situations during the course of the game. And situational football. And to have the opportunity to practice these when it really means nothing in terms of wins and losses, it's invaluable to the coaches and the players.
And third and goal for the 7-yard line. Savage touchdown. And so Steven Anderson able to haul that in. That's the rookie out of Cal. And so the Texans hit the end zone offensively for the first time.
Now, and I'm not sure if it's Ray Armstrong or it's Acker behind him. I think there was a miscommunication. Ray passed him off to Acker. Acker didn't get there in time, and you could tell after the play they were both looking at each other and trying to communicate, figure out exactly what happened. But one of them's at fault. Either Ray Armstrong was supposed to carry the tight end out there a little bit farther. Acker was supposed to be quicker down in coverage, and I would anticipate probably Acker need to be down there in tighter coverage was the deal.
So Nick Novak on for the PAT, and so Niners a decided edge in the first half. Third quarter, the Texans hurt a little bit from Bill O'Brien at halftime, and Tom Savage and their offenses responded. Novak's PAT has up and good, and I don't care if you're week 1 or week 17. I don't care if you're week 1 or week 17. You give up 50 offensive plays and 300 yards to a team in the first half of a game. Your coach can have a little something to say at halftime.
Yeah, they won't be happy about it. I think, terrific job by the 49ers in terms of the execution, and the up-tempo certainly had an effect. Think about Houston, and I've talked to a lot of these guys as they got out here, and they really feel like they're having an opportunity to get refreshed. And I talked about, because of the weather, it is so hot, and the humidity and the heat index back in Houston, these guys are going to camp 2.5 weeks. A lot of them feel worn out.
Well, Thad Lewis has gone to the locker room, and so Jeff Driscoll will play quarterback the rest of the game. And you just hope Lewis, maybe sprained an ankle or something like that. But he took a lot of punishment. I think the other thing, too, is that the Niners are testing that depth of their offensive line. So the whole second half, in my mind, has featured the third string offensive line. Feel pretty good about the starters. Second unit did very well in that second quarter. But a lot of Colin Kelly and Brandon Thomas, Balducci, Vaughn Cooper, Theus. So third stringers are getting thrown into the deep end of the pool on the offensive line.
So what you're saying is their third stringers at the line of scrimmage has been better than the 49ers' third stringers?
Yes.
Okay.
I also don't think Houston has gone third string defense yet. I think some of their backups, the twos were playing against the threes a little bit, if that makes any sense. But for the 49ers, we're going to see Jeff Driscoll, who's an interesting story in his own right. That will be another touchback. The new rule coming out to the 25-yard line. Jeff Driscoll graduated from Florida. He played there for 4 years. He transferred to Louisiana Tech and started 13 games. This guy covered kicks, returned kicks, has been the personal protector on Niner punts, and is also a quarterback and was the fastest QB in the combine in all of college football.
Well, you look at his size, and a lot of it is in the lower body. He is very thick and muscular from the waist down. And you can see, he lit it up in Louisiana Tech with the touchdowns. Very few interceptions. He's got a good arm. You can see it out here in practice. And you illustrated what he does best, and that's use his legs. Good job there, and with an accurate throw. But he was the fastest quarterback at the combine. He ran in the 4.5s, and when you put that in this offense, and what the options are for the quarterback to run it, he could have a nice future.
That was Colin Kelly there. We talked about, Tim and I have seen a lot of football, and you've played a lot of football, that for 50 plays in the first half and over 300 yards of offense, not a single offensive penalty. And Jeff Driscoll comes in, and the first thing, you have a false start by a third string offensive lineman. So you're going to get a little bit of that in preseason and certainly in the second half of the game. Driscoll stepping forward, finding Bryce Treggs. Get that out to the 24-yard line.
Treggs just had a nice hand, and that wasn't a great ball. That was behind him on the back shoulder, and he went up and got a nice catch. He made a catch in practice the other day. I don't know if you saw it on the go route. Yeah. I believe it was in the 7-on-7. He laid out in the end, a terrific throw from Blaine Gabbert. It barely hit his fingertips, and he was able to pull that thing in for the touchdown.
So second 11. Driscoll stepping up and again get an idea of that speed. And smarts, because you do not want to get earholed near the sideline for an extra yard right there. It'll bring up third and manageable, but that escapability.
Well, the pocket's just closing just nowhere for him to go except in that little lane right up to the left side, and wisely runs it out of bounds. He is a big dude, though. Now, people are going to trip off of him because of the strength in his lower body when they try to tackle him.
Third and 3.
Oh,
That route jumped and probably fortunate that it was high. Trying to find Ray Anderson. The Niners left to punt it away. So offensively, second half will short circuit after the very good offensive performance of the first half. But even then, you ask coaches, Chip Kelly's like, good.
no.
I get to see my punt team. I get to see punt coverage. I get to see defensive snaps. It's that they're charting and measuring so many of this because I think I was doing the math. Like 85% of the Niner roster is 3 years or younger in the league.
Yeah, and they won't look at what the Threes have done here in the second half and be okay with it. They're going to coach them hard that those guys can get it fixed.
Bud Williams will run away, takes a Niner bounce. Houston will set up shop at about their 24-yard line. There is a flag back at the 31 on the Niners will punt it. So wait on the hanky here.
During the kick, holding, receiving team number 37. 10-yard penalty from the end of the kick. First and 10, Houston.
All right, so the trivia answer, Bud Light trivia, the first name of Chip Kelly. I know you know, Tim. I'm asking everybody else in the booth there.
Oh, I know.
You said there was
I listened to you. You gave it away, right?
Charles Edward Kelly. And there is Lance down the left sideline and dragged out of bounds in the 40. Can't finish on the Charles Haley without two things involving Mr. D. Eddie DeBartolo said during Hall of Fame week, said, my biggest mistake as an owner was letting Charles Haley go. Said never should have happened. I should have jumped in, should have sued, whatever was going on relationship-wise. Last year when Charles Haley made the Hall of Fame, they had a little golf outing. Mr. D was sharing a cart with Charles Haley. And he said, hey, Charles, you can't drive on the green with a golf cart. And he said, Mr. D, it's all green out here. What are you talking about? So everybody had a pretty good laugh at that. But now Charles Haley, you know, Cowboy stuff, whatever, he's a Niner at heart. And to see him come back and work with potentially, that was nearly picked off, but potentially the building blocks, the Eric Armstead, your DeForest Buckners. I mean, that's one generation handed off to the next generation. That's good for Niner football. You want to see these youngsters pass rush and nearly picked off.
And good job by Acker, just driving on that football and getting his hands on it, nearly intercepting it. Started a lot of games last year, and again, we can talk all we want about that opposite corner. We haven't seen enough in this game, certainly early from the starting group, opposite Tremaine Brock, that position is settled. This competition at that other cornerback is going to go at least the next couple of weeks, I would think.
Yeah, Prince Charles Awara able to check in. Awara just shoving out of bounds to the 49-yard line. That's short of the first down. That'll bring up 3rd and 1. So there's your guy in Western Kentucky, the 7th-round pick, the fastest 49er.
I think what they really liked about Prince was obviously his speed, but, you know, Western Kentucky, and I think he played in the PUAD, I think he played in the Players game, the Players Association game, and the NFLPA game, and at practice, they said he just got better every day, and they liked that out of him. Small school
First and 10 for Houston. 24. Gets that hit by Spitzer. Key Hunt gets some yardage, but four flags now. This is where it gets a little sloppy.
So there might be a face mask here.
Terry hadn't got a lot of face time in the first half, actually. Now, when you grab a face mask, you were D lineman. Do you know I gotta let this go, or it's now I'm spinning this guy around by his head?
Well, it happens so fast. I mean, you don't really feel it when you have a hold of it. You feel it when the head gets turned. And I mean, you know what I'm saying?
Okay.
You don't feel it until the momentum of the body's going one way, which you got grasped in your hands coming the other. So it's hard to once you have your fingers. Sometimes your fingers just get caught around the bars of the mask. It's hard to let it go once you're ripping out.
Yeah, with good pressure there. Savage had to get rid of it. Bring up second and goal for the 9-yard line. You know, that position can be super fun when it's an obvious passing situation. But man, they put that outside backer on an island. Like, do I drop? Do I rush? Is there a running back behind me if I go after the quarterback?
Yeah, and teams game planning will know that right away if you have an issue at outside linebacker in terms of the coverage stuff, because they'll immediately formation that guy right out in space, neutralize him as a rusher and take advantage of his weakness in coverage.
So second and goal for the 9. Savage with a quick read, but he was fired. He had Devin Jones open. Now bring up third down.
Yeah, you have Prince in off coverage, and he just never closes the gap. I'm sure that they won't be happy about giving free access like that down near the goal line. Inside the 10-yard line, but a misfire. And that's just a young guy, you know, trying to understand the situation. But again, red zone defense, opportunity to get this situation on tape and learn from it.
So third and goal for the 9. Niners only bringing 4. That's going to get up the tackle. And they didn't quite get to Akeem Hunt. He tight ropes it in for the touchdown. So you're going to drop 7 and let something happen in front of you. That's one thing, but you got to go up and make the tackle.
No, yeah.
And Acker missed it.
And there's Acker, you're going to see him flash in the right side of your screen as he drives up and just leaves his feet and tries to go down near the thigh pad and just missed. I mean, literally, barely touched it.
You mentioned plays on tape. Jim O'Neill's going to say, all right, our idea was there if they threw it to the 4-yard line to make a tackle, they also for a field goal.
That it was called perfectly, the coverage was executed. Now just rally up and make the stop and hold them to a field goal opportunity.
So 23-13 Houston with the PAT on the way.
And I will say this, I mean, there's no live tackling really most places around the NFL. And they're going to review this play, but they work on tackling a lot. There are tackling drills everywhere on backs for these defenders.
Did Hunt step out of bounds? We will tell you when we return.
chance. Just end with no regrets.
You want to see phenomenal camera work. Keem Hunt did not step out of bounds.
No, you see a little green grass in between the field and the out-of-bounds stripe. And all scoring plays automatically go into review, so they're reviewing this one, but that's a touchdown.
It was called correctly. And also, too, I think review is like, hey, let's practice a review.
Practice the whole process.
That's it. Nicely done. So, very efficient drive. It was Savage running things. Houston in the second half will look very good as the Niners have substituted liberally.
I'll bet you another time. I shouldn't say I'll bet you, but probably none of the officials have flights after this game to catch either.
Okay. Fair, fair enough.
Maybe we should review this.
PAT is up and good in the Texans. 24-13 with 9:22 left.
No one covers game day like game day.
Football is most certainly back.
We started up first.
This is where all the fun begins.
Get youth ready for kickoff.
He can play inside, outside, the best receiver in football has been made for Pittsburgh.
Deliver the latest highlights and interviews.
Season that we've had, it's as special as you can imagine.
And we're there to wrap up your day.
That's how you win football games.
We've got you covered.
All day long.
NFL Game Day returns September 11th, only on NFL Network.
Quick pitch to Warner, looking for the record.
From the moment they came back on the field, everyone rallied immediately. The hours that followed to the last day of an era.
Hoping this is not the final one in this city.
From the team everyone feared to the legend who moved on.
Very happy to be here. Most happy to be here. Washington Redskins.
On September 14th, the timeline returns with 10 groundbreaking new episodes from the NFL's greatest storyteller.
Whatever could go wrong went wrong.
These are the moments
Eagles and the Bears are playing football, but I can't see, nor can anyone else.
that impacted the game
To try to be the best of all time. That's what makes Peyton Manning who he is.
So many great players in the 80s. Just to say that
and resonated beyond.
This game ball is going to the city of New Orleans.
there's only one America's team. It's the Dallas Cowboys.
The timeline returns Wednesday, September 14th at 8, only on NFL Network.
Our Jack in the Box asked Tim, how many running backs do you think will make the team?
Well, I think part of that question is Bruce Miller staying at tight end and making that, because he's fullback, you consider him one of the running backs, but then I think he will stay at that tight end / H-back in that versatile role. So I would say at least 4, maybe 5.
And also you get into Bruce Miller, then Jeff Driscoll. Is he play special teams as well? Because you make running back bodies there sometimes. It's caught at the 9-yard line. Returned out to the 21 by Kelvin Taylor. But you look at Carlos Hyde, Jerome, Mike Davis, Kelvin Taylor, Dewan Harris, Kendall Gaskins. You might have to 4 out of those 6 guys.
And again, there's so much preseason football, and who knows what's going to happen between now and the opener against the Rams. But I think if hypothetically, if this team was cut down today, Hyde would obviously make it, Drone would make it, Dewan Harris would make it, Mike Davis would make it, and then you start talking about what do you want after that? Do you want Kelvin Taylor, the young guy, and kind of the same kind of back as the other guys? Do you want Kendall Gaskins, who's 230 pounds down on the goal line? That depends on what coaches want in that 5th guy if they keep 5.
That's Gaskins right there.
Yeah, he was a touchdown machine at Richmond now. And can play special teams.
And that's why I think every rep in all 4 of these preseason games for this Niner team, there's so many young players and there's so many that are around the same level that how you flash in these 4 preseason games can determine whether you play football for a living.
Absolutely.
There's still pretty good patience there, finding Gaskins. And I think for the offensive line, which was really such a sore
quarterback playing Gabbard. And there's Driscoll's juice right there. There's that
Look
speed.
at Jeff Driscoll.
Yeah.
That's like a single wing rollout. And he gets across the 45 to the 46-yard line.
And he's 230 plus. And most of it's from the waist down. Man coverage. You're going to turn and run with those receivers. Jeff Driscoll says, thank you. I will highlight my 4.5 speed right in front of you and punch it near midfield.
You said it perfectly. You'd say, with man coverage, oh, wait, everyone's back is to me? Okay, that means I can run. First down there. The Gaskins over the left side.
Just finishing the offensive line, though, what you were talking about, and my goodness, and Anthony Davis coming back, it's such a good thing. And based on what we've seen here in training camp with how he's practiced, the development of Trent Brown, Zane Beatles, you talked about him, Garnett, a very good, 1B, jump back into round one to grab him. Tiller can play. The linchpin right in the middle. You know how much Kilgore was missed last year, the first half of the season? And to have that smart guy right back in the middle and making all the adjustments and handling all the blocks.
Driscoll had the right read and just couldn't find Busta Anderson, who had the linebacker on him and was open. That'll bring up 3rd and 7.
And there's Kilgore right there. And you know what's funny is, I asked, did you spend your time with off the field? Joe Saley, Kilgore, Pierce, Tiller, the offensive line, yeah.
That's smart. Good preservation on 3rd and 7. Driscoll thought about tucking it and dove for the first down and did it without taking a headshot, which was really smart. Not getting the greatest spot.
And he got a good block, too. Good pickup right there by Norman Price on the outside, just washing down that defender. And then look at Kendall Gaskin, who able to get a little something on the defensive back, which got Driscoll right there, and now he's going to pay it off on first down.
That was 4th down.
That's right.
Tell you what, he runs that zone read very smoothly. And as Tim highlighted earlier, it is a read. What the end do?
Crash.
And if the end crashes,
What's that guy?
I'm open. Oh.
He crashes. And Driscoll, and by the time the linebacker at the second level, who looked like schematically was supposed to play the quarterback right there and filter over the top, by the time he saw it, stop speed.
This time, flag flies as Driscoll goes down. The thing on the zone read, and when Colin Kaepernick rushed for 181 yards in a playoff game, the league said, wait a minute, this zone read's getting run a lot. Some teams will say, hit the quarterback.
10-yard penalty, replay, first down.
That'll be holding on the 49ers. Hit the quarterback every play.
That's Terrell Suggs.
Hit him every play, and that will stop quarterbacks and coaches from wanting to run that zone read relentlessly.
Yeah, and if you look at it, I mean, if they're doing that motion, they are free reign to get hit.
First down, back it up after the penalty, 1st and 20. Driscoll bouncing one there. And if you're a defensive end now, it takes away, you don't have to read anything. My job is to hit the quarterback at every play. If he hands it off to the running back, then the interior has to tackle that running back. But I'm killing the quarterback every time.
Yeah, and I think, once the regular season, there's more game planning involved in that, down and distance and what you're going to do. And there's a lot more to it. But, yeah, from that standpoint, that's what Terrell Suggs said he wanted to do no matter what. I'm just going to go hit him. Eventually, he's going to stop wanting to run that play.
See, the Niners are threatening the width of the field, but that Busta Anderson play was there to go down the field. They just couldn't connect. So now it's 3rd and 20.
Looks like Driscoll got his heart rate up a little bit, those couple of runs and scrambles.
And as much as the coaches know he can run, he would like to show off the arm as well.
You bet.
Driscoll escapes. There's another flag on the play, too. One of the facts that Baskin Gaskins bounced in there. So
Number 63, penalties decline, 4th down.
first half substitution of the offensive line. Be a big week ahead for the Niners when you think going to Denver, the scrimmage against the Super Bowl champs.
Yeah, looking forward to that. Going on Tuesday. Practice against them for a couple of days and get ready for preseason game number 2. But you know what they're going to be. They're going to be led by that defense once again.
Driscoll on 4th and $1 billion here. Just checking it down to Gaskins. I got a good one for you. It's in for next week already. The Denver Broncos. How many passing touchdowns did the Super Bowl champions have in the regular season? I'll tell you when we come back with the Texans up 24-13.
Should I say you were Julio this week? Julio? Nothing personal. Just something else, bro.
Without NFL.com fantasy football, what would friends talk about?
Hey, I had these really good carrots the other day. Nice.
NFL.com fantasy football. Fun, free, and easy.
New Shit Hydro versus Boost. A hydrating gel reservoir that gives you 40% less friction is designed by no other razor to protect from irritation. Sorry, lip strip. Shit Hydro, for your skin.
How does Wendy's make fries that are worthy of the name Baconator? Start with thick applewood smoked bacon, add cheddar and creamy cheese sauce to natural cut fries seasoned with salt from the actual seed. And that's Wendy's Baconator fries. Just $1.99 for a limited time.
Heineken found the best on special gift. An original recipe with only 3 ingredients and all natural. I also have a special gift. The ability to cry on demand. It's beautiful. Only 3 natural ingredients. There's more in the start.
.com/seats for all your 49er ticket needs. Rams coming on Monday night to begin the season. Dallas, Arizona, Tampa, New Orleans, New England, the Jets, and Seattle. 49ers.com/seats for the 70th season of 49er football. So Chip Ryan said the Broncos would be led by their defense. Last year, Denver winning the Super Bowl and 19 passing touchdowns all season. 19!
Yeah, I believe Peyton was the lowest rated quarterback in pro football of the starters last year and really didn't play Peyton like until he had to at the very end.
So the 49ers were bottom 3 offensively in basically every category. They had 16.
Yeah.
So number 1 to one of the teams that were struggling.
You know what's interesting is this has been being said around the NFL the last 4 or 5 years. If you don't have one, that being a quarterback, you got one of the best ever. With the way that he played.
They did it with Von Miller to
That's
keep
right.
the lead and just
In a run game.
in a run game. The defense, you can straight NFC title games, it was their defense that kind of led the way as well, not pyrotechnics offensively.
Well, Scone thought he had a knockout shot right here. Again, reads that double team, fills the hole, and the back.
The final 4 minutes here. Niners own the first half offensively and defensively. Houston, their second and third stringers have had the edge here in the second half.
By the way, those comments you just made about the 49er defense, I don't think Jerry Rice would appreciate it.
No. I'm talking the most recent things.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah, no, the Alex Smith, Colin
Absolutely.
Kaepernick.
No.
I mean, that,
Well, that's what everybody forgets. What happened to that offense and all the defensive players either retired or left?
well, here's my point that no one gets brought up is the Niners went to 3 straight NFC title games and a Super Bowl. They were one of the worst third down teams. They were one of the worst red zone teams, and they broke NFL records for field goal attempts.
Yep.
They did it with your Patrick Willis and Justin Smith and Aldon Smith and DeMarco Bowman and others. And
Frank Gore was nice little play. So they could run the ball.
they could run the ball. The Denver Broncos, that will be an interesting week. 16-yard line. And I think also, too, the practice here Friday against Houston, playing them, go to Denver practice and play them with a young team. The reps you can get against an opponent are so much more valuable than just inter-squad reps.
And more than ever before, when you look at how the league is now and the lack of really work opportunities these coaches have with the players and the no two-a-days,
Right.
Time limits, time constraints, walkthroughs have to be walkthroughs, snapshots of OTAs. When you showed up March 1st, you were pretty much there until you took a little time off before training camp.
You didn't have mandatory day offs during your training camp?
No, nothing. Listen, I'm going to tell you something about the off-season program. Nothing's mandatory, just required.
Okay, I like that.
Not mandatory, just required. You make the decision. But now, the smart coaches, it's always a big part of this game. The NFL game, though, is and always will be about players, but I think more than ever before, in the legacy of the 80s and Bill Walsh and all that coaching, they separated themselves. In today's game, I think it's just as, if not more important, because of the limited opportunities you've got to really work with these guys in terms of time on the practice field, time in pads, time practicing your craft at full speed. Not a lot of opportunities to do that anymore, so the preseason games are, I know a lot of people don't like the product, and you got a lot of guys that aren't going to be playing, that are out playing right now, but you've got to have it for the development, and then you add the practices on top of it, and it's almost necessary now.
Well, here would be the question. You saw Driscoll on that out route. The lack of arm strength sometimes, that's the pass that a lot of GMs want to see. You don't want to see that. That is incomplete. What if you went to 2 preseason games, but the practicing at various teams' place like the Niners are doing with Houston and then with Denver, that became more commonplace? Would that still accomplish the same thing?
It might accomplish more. I think coaches would love it. They can script all those situations. You got to convince the owners about that one, though, for everybody paying full boat for the preseason games. I always thought you could just make the revenue right up by adding 2 more teams to the playoffs.
Okay, that's it. Well, I think the thing that fans and players and the NFLPA and the owners all talk about is, okay, limit it to 2 preseason games. College is none, so it's like 2 preseason games. But then players don't want to hear about 18 regular season games.
No, that's too much.
That would be
too much.
That would be ridiculous.
Get 2 more teams in the playoffs, and you make up that revenue right there.
I think that's something.
And I don't want to hear about 18 teams that shouldn't be in the playoffs. We've seen some wild card teams. We've seen.
Well, you saw a 7-9 division team actually beat New Orleans.
That's right.
But that's one. If you shorten the preseason, great, but don't make it 18 regular season. You don't have nobody left at the end of the year. So first down. Houston content with Brandon Wheaton, 32 years of age, way by Dallas. Get an opportunity to clean this one up, and for Houston and Bill O'Brien, they're going to say, hey, Tom Savage can back up Brock Osweiler. Brock Osweiler has done everything right from the leadership standpoint in this camp when you talk to the Texans, because he said he learned from Peyton Manning every single day. The question is, how good a player is Brock Osweiler in his 5th year?
Well, you've got 7 starts in 5 years, and 5-2 last year, and was good early. Started to certainly not be as effective as he got a little bit later in those starts. But I think the thing is now, and it's just the way the NFL is, and what I talked about earlier. Think about Houston. They had Matt Schaub for all those years, and I rolled with him, and
Andre Johnson and Arian Foster,
all those guys. Right now, J.J. Watt, who's the best defensive player in pro football. He's right in the middle in the prime of his career. They got to get the quarterback position fixed.
That's a good point. They have the 7th best defense, and Romeo Cornell is our
You got to get it fixed. And last year with Hoyer and now the way that whole thing went, I think they feel great about what they gave Brock Osweiler.
2-minute warning. Texans are going to handle this one, leading 24-13. 60 Minutes. That is on KBCW right now. Check out 60 Minutes. We're going to have all the coverage here to wrap up this one in about 2 minutes. As we've hit the 2-minute warning, and Texans in control. 49ers put up 300 yards in the first half, ran 50 offensive plays. They have 100 yards in the second half.
$160 rushing in the first half.
Wheaton stepping up in the pocket. Flag flies in the middle of the field as that pass was overthrown.
You get probably some defensive holding right in the middle. I think the back stretch through it.
Holding. Defense number 38. 5-yard penalty. 5-minute first down.
Now, when the Niners go to Denver on Tuesday and then they play the Broncos on Saturday, you know, the storyline of the week is the Bronco game because you get a couple. There won't be any quarterback competition after that.
Yeah, and I don't know if they know that yet. I think to be determined. His arm just got stiff the other day.
I also think, and hopefully this will be the case for next Saturday, I want to see Eric Armstead
So why?
and the fourth partner play together.
And I talked about he was having a great training camp against Houston on Friday during one of the drills. I think he all factor that he was going to shut it down for this preseason game.
He's had an amazing camp, and he is flat out ragdoll some people up
Well,
front.
and the thing with him that makes him so impressive, just watching him, I talked about his skill sets or his hand quickness and what he can do with his hands and grabbing and shedding and getting away from guys and being violent with his upper body. Not a lot of guys can do what Eric Armstead innately can do just with quick twitch and with the hand speed. His whole thing, as I said, consistency and keeping those pads down. But one play, he'll look like an all-pro. I mean, he really will. He'll take good offensive linemen, and he looks like a basketball player. He'll get their hands in their chest. He'll bend them over backwards. And then the next play, last year at times just looked like a different player because part of that is being a rookie. Yeah.
Could be the final play of the game if the Texans elect to run the football, and they do. And Allen found the ball. Well, they're still figuring out who's got it, and Houston got on top of it, and that should tick off the final 20 seconds. So for the 49ers trying to answer some questions up and down the roster. Mike Davis is going to feel awfully good. Blaine Gabbert, after a couple ugly throws, was very good moving the team. Vance McDonald had a very good play in space. Offensive line looked vastly improved from a year ago.
Mike Davis looked terrific. Other than the lost fumble, Carlos Hyde did some nice things. DeJuan Harris, Shutter, all the running backs played well, and the first and second groups on the offensive line played well. And defensively, the coverage really throughout the whole first half with the ones and the twos was terrific.
Couple productive days for the Texans and the 49ers. Houston wins it 24-13.
And that'll do it for the last preseason game of Week 1. Welcome to NFL Total Access, presented by Mitsubishi Motors. I'm Lindsay Rhodes alongside Keith Evans and Eric Davis. 24-13, the final score. The Houston Texans going back to Houston, winners of their first game again of the preseason, and it kind of looked like a preseason game in a lot of ways.
Yes, it did. Started off, I think, sloppy for both teams. Improved throughout the second quarter, for the Niners, and then the second half was the second half for both squads.
Yeah, tale of two halves. The first half, the 49ers were able to run the ball and make some plays in that way, and you had a lot of guys missing for the Houston Texans, that it showed. Defensively, they weren't tackling. They're running off through them, and in the second half, you have the new guys coming out trying to make plays, trying to show their worth to the teams, and they were able to make plays on the Houston side. But it was some ugly football in there. He had a few plays along the way that looked good for both squads. It's what you expect in preseason.
All right, let's see what we're talking about here. The highlight of this game up in Santa Clara, Chip Kelly's first game as the head coach of the San Francisco 49ers. No Colin Kaepernick. He's in the mix for the starting quarterback job, but he was sidelined today because of arm fatigue.
Yeah, he's tired.
How about that big Vince Wilfork on the line?
Did you call
He said he
Vince
was highlighted.
big? Did you call Vince?
I think that's a fact. I don't even know that that's subjective anymore. He's a very large human being.
It's a fact that his large belly got in the way, caused the fumble. Look at it right here. Tide's trying to come through, and that's it. Not necessarily his belly. He used his belly to hold off the lineman, and he kind of got it with his butt. But the ball, either way, you got to hold on to the ball.
Yeah.
Did you just sort of call that a fumble?
Well, kind of, sort of. Good job, Edie.
Brock Osweiler, our first time seeing him in a Texans uniform, the $72 million man. First possession, second and 7, and complete to DeAndre
That was a good play
Hopkins.
by Jermaine Brock. He's been playing well, having a good camp. They need him to play well. Tonight, a second year, going to be a good thing.
Looking for the rookie Braxton Miller.
Miller to catch. You know what? That ball was low and away. Good placement. Catch it for him, Braxton.
And you may want to block Mark Brooks.
Well,
That was a good field.
Brock kind of held it. Sometimes you just got to get rid of it. I don't know.
You held that one too long. That was a good field.
4.167 seconds.
Rules that right there.
Continue to frustrate defenses, especially in the preseason when there is no game plan. You're literally installing your team's defensive schemes, not another team's. You're going out there and playing ball, and you saw some of that taken advantage of tonight.
302 total yards